People be talking smack about my girl Yoimiya. Yoimiya is probably the most underrated DPS in Genshin Impact. Even though she can only do single target damage, she can still hit some insane numbers with just normal attacks. In scenarios where she needs to take down multiple targets, her individual damage is so high that it almost feels like you are doing AoE damage. Almost. Yoimiya is a character that excels at taking down single targets with massive health bars. She also makes it so much easier to take down annoying enemies like the Geowolf and Thunder Manifestation.
Come down here and fight like a man!
I don't suppose I could convince you to come up here and fight like a spider.
But today I am here to tell you why Yoimiya is an insane pyro DPS and how to build this happy-go-lucky fireworks addict. I am going to be showing you everything. How to play Yoimiya, her best artifacts, her best weapons, her best teams, but also some budget options if you don't have the best options available to her. So let's get right into it. Yoimiya's playstyle is pretty simple. Basically, all of her damage is going to come from her normal attacks. Activating her elemental skill infuses your normal attacks with pyro, and it will also buff your normal attack damage. So you want to make sure you go through your entire team's rotation first, then once you are set up, swap to Yoimiya, activate her skill, and stay on field for the skill's full duration while shooting off as many normal attacks as you can. When a character has an attack steroid or some kind of ability that buffs your normal attacks, people usually believe that you should level up the buffing ability first, but this isn't the case here. When leveling up Yoimiya's talents, you should actually prioritize leveling up her normal attacks, because even though her elemental skill is important to level up, it still only buffs what is already there. So you should prioritize Yoimiya's normals first, then her elemental skill, and then never touch her elemental burst. I'm kidding, you can level up her burst. And while you're at it, also uninstall the game. Now let's go over artifacts. Her best in slot overall is going to be a 4-piece Shimenawa's. This artifact set will cost you 15 energy when you activate your elemental skill, but in return, your normal charged and plunge attacks damage will be increased by 50%. This is great considering a majority of your damage comes from normal attacks. Also, losing energy doesn't matter too much because Yoimiya's burst is like a non-alcoholic beer.
Worthless!
Another great option for Yoimiya is a 4-piece Crimson Witch of Flames. This set actually slightly beats out Shimenawa's in teams that proc reactions like Vaporize and Overload, but I wouldn't really recommend farming for Crimson specifically because 4-piece Shimmy is so much more resin efficient because it shares the same domain as Emblem of Severed Fate. If you do use Yoimiya in a Vaporize team and eventually want to upgrade to Crimson, I would suggest farming a more resin efficient domain than slowly converting dead artifacts through the Strongbox system. But if you have Farina, then let me tell you.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what.
The Marashose artifact set is godlike on Yoimiya. She obviously benefits from the 2-piece normal attack increase, but also getting 36% crit rate just for having Farina in your party is absolutely insane.
It's free real estate.
You can also use a 4-piece Gilded Dreams if you already have a set farmed because you were trying to get Deepwood memory pieces. And it can actually be a pretty good set if you utilize the elemental mastery that the set gives you in something like a Vaporize team. Besides that, you can also use a 2-piece combo of any of these artifacts, especially if you don't have great substats on any of your 4-piece sets yet. You can use 2-piece Crimson, any 18% attack bonus set, or any plus 80 elemental mastery set. Now let's go over weapons for Yoimiya. I will start with Yoimiya's signature weapon, the Thundering Pulse. This is one of the very few 5-star weapons that I rolled for because Yoimiya is the GOAT, and she deserves it. This weapon perfectly synergizes with Yoimiya and gives you a lot of crit damage for those big juicy numbers that we love to see. If you don't have Thundering Pulse, then some other 5-star options are Aqua Simulacra, Polar Star, and Hunter's Path. But a great thing about Yoimiya is that she actually has a really good 4-star bow. Rust pairs really well with Yoimiya, increasing your normal attack damage by up to 80% at Refinement Rank 5. And at R5, it can actually compete with some 5-star bows. Unfortunately, Rust isn't that powerful before Refinement Rank 5. But luckily, if you don't have an R5 Rust, there's an even easier weapon to get. R5 Slingshot is actually very close to R5 Rust. Unfortunately, I very recently threw away all of my 3-star weapons and I didn't realize that I didn't keep an R5 Slingshot, but at R5, Slingshot can increase your normal attack damage by 60% on top of giving you 31.2% crit rate at level 90. If you have someone like Bennett to make up for the lack of base attack, then in certain situations, this can actually become one of Yoimiya's best weapons. I don't think I need to dive any further into weapons because if you don't have any of the higher star options, then I'm pretty sure you at least have an R5 Slingshot. Next, let's go ahead and talk about teams. Since Yoimiya's playstyle is pretty linear, I think instead of diving right into multiple different team comps like normal, I want to tell you some characters that pair really well with Yoimiya and let you know that you can feel free to kind of mold your own team together depending on who you have built or who you enjoy using. Yoimiya is a main DPS unit, so you're going to want to build a team around her similar to how you would with any DPS unit. Usually you want to have 2 off-field damage units or buffers and 1 defensive unit for survivability. The defensive unit can be either a healer or a shielder. But if you are just a quirked up white boy goated with the sauce, then you can forego the defensive unit for more damage. Characters like Zhongli, Xingqiu, Yelan, and Bennett are amazing characters to pair with Yoimiya. Honestly, if you just replace Yoimiya with any one of these characters, it makes a solid team. But that doesn't mean you necessarily have to use all of these characters or even any of these characters. I just personally think that a lot of Yoimiya's best teams involve at least one of these characters. For example, if you wanted to use Zhongli because he allows Yoimiya to get off her full normal attack string, which is very important because Yoimiya's final normal attack does the most damage, then you could use a team like Zhongli, Albedo, Yoimiya, and Bennett. This gives you Geo Resonance, which increases shield strength and gives shielded characters a damage boost along with the attack boost you get from Pyro Resonance. It is a very easy team to play because there aren't any elemental reactions to think about and you should be safe behind Zhongli's shield. If you want to buff Yoimiya's normal attacks more, you can sub out Albedo for Yunjin. But if you want to go for more damage with elemental reactions, then you can go for a Vaporize comp. Yoimiya does have standard ICD, so the 1st, 3rd, and 5th normal attacks should be the ones vaporizing, which is great because you definitely want that last attack to vape. But if you are brave and think you don't need a shield, then you can form a team with an Animo unit so that you can use the powerful Viridescent artifact set. Maybe you want an Overload comp that can also mitigate the fact that Yoimiya can only do single target damage. Well, why not try out Yoimiya, Fischl, Beidou, and Bennett? The world is your oyster. Farina also pairs pretty well with Yoimiya because she pairs well with everyone pretty much. Farina plus Yelan plus strong healer plus literally anyone is a pretty good team. But when a character is able to fully capitalize on the Marechaussee Hunter set like Yoimiya, it feels pretty insane. Depending on the situation, you can use whatever characters you need. Zhongli is always a solid option that allows Yoimiya to finish her normal attack string uninterrupted. If you need a bit of AoE, then you can throw Xiangling into your team to get there. If you want to vaporize, then throw in Xingqiu or Yelan. If you are an absolute mad lad, then you can play a Viridescent Vaporize comp. Yup, if you are a true Yoimiya main like me, then you don't even need a shield. Steve, cut the tape. Cut the tape, Steve. Overall, I think that Yoimiya is a very solid unit. The Spiral Abyss usually favors characters who can do more AoE damage, and I think that's why a lot of Genshin players don't give Yoimiya the credit she deserves. But when there are abysses that contain annoying enemies like the Geowolf, the Thunder Manifestation, or the Wee Nut,
What the f did you just say?
then Yoimiya is always there to bail me out. And plus, check this shit out.
I'm copying the sound that Paimon makes while disappearing.
Yoimiya doesn't even need to be at C1 to do that. Yeah, Hu Tao sounds pretty quiet right now. That is going to be it for today's guide, and just remember, you don't have to believe in yourself. Believe in me. Believe in the me that believes in you, and I'll see you in the next video.